Alright, how are we going again? Finally actually get back out to my shed after probably a couple of weeks out here. Haven't been out here. I had the car show the other week, and then last week I had a birthday party, and then the next day I didn't really feel like doing anything. But anyway, I finally got a handle sorted for this. So I just finished making that. I made it out of, I actually bought a length of timber. It's at 30mm by 30mm, which would be, trying to guess, would be about 1.25 inches, I suppose, roughly. So yeah, I bought a length of timber. It was basically the length of 3 of these pieces plus this little bit. Now that's it's a bit of Tas oak from here in Tasmania, I'm guessing. So it's a pretty hard wood. So yeah, I made it, tried to make them sort of that sort of snap-on sort of style with that Argo from Outlaw Ridge sort of showed me. You know, it's not round on the handle. It's sort of got more sort of flat side. So I sort of replicated that sort of from what I could remember. And it does feel actually good in the hand. It's nice and grippy. Like it's not gonna turn around in your hand so easy. So I got one more hammer head here that I sort of made the other weekend. That big funny long thing that I made that I haven't made a handle for yet. So I probably will. I don't know if I'll make it now, because I actually would like to do some work on my car. So I thought I'd make the handle up for that one, because I'm probably going to use that hammer come in handy pretty often, whereas I'm not going to use this one very often. But I will make another handle or two up out of these two, because I've got enough for another 2 handles here. So I'll definitely make one up for that anyway, and I'll just leave the other bit of timber until I get closer to when I make another hammer, and I'll make another one up. So all I did to shape it was just the old flappy disc on the grinder, and just put it in the bench vise and just shaped it up with that. And then I just gave it a rough sand up before with a bit of 120 sandpaper. You know, I could probably clean it up a little bit better than that again, but that'll be good enough in the meantime until I actually get round to finishing it off properly. Because I'm sick of not doing anything on this. So I'm just at the moment trying to decide what I'm going to do, because there's a couple of things I sort of need to do. I'll just get around the back end of this between the welder and everything else. So this is one thing that I've got to try and sort out, is this door. It originally had washers in behind this hinge. Now, because this car's been punted in the front, or had a thing in the front, and I don't know whether this is twisted, but it had that dent down the door, which I worked the worst of it out there, I don't know, a few months ago, and I knocked it out because it was really poked in. It was probably in half an inch or more in here, and I knocked the worst of it out. Like, I haven't done any other work to it. Like, I could come in here now and probably actually do a bit more work and get that flattened out, but I want to get this, I might try today, try to see if I can get this door to fit nicely and actually close properly, because the way they had it packed out before, it was just, the gap was right up, it was hard up against here when it was closed. So it was hard up against this edge, and then it had a massive gap around here to try and get it to close properly. And I'm going to try and fix it. I don't know whether what's happened with that damage, because that damage was caused by the back of the front door, I think. I'm pretty sure, but I'm not 100% sure. So I don't know whether this is twisted down in here a little bit, and it's just not, whether that's bit where it bolts on is not, needs to be pulled around, or something, it's got twisted. And amongst that accident, because I've got a sneaking suspicion this is up a little bit higher in here too. Like, I just don't think this side of the car is as square as the other side is. So I'm going to try and push around here today and see if I can get this door to bolt up and actually close properly and sit where it needs to be sitting, because it's ugly as dog poo at the moment. Yeah, like it did actually sit there okay before, but it was way too far forward. But I want to try and get it so it's sitting and it's got a nice, or a reasonably nice even gap around here. If it's not perfect, it's not perfect, but as long as I can get it real close. Because as you can see at the moment, if I push it in there, like it's horse shit. So, I did make I'm trying to think, I think I made a spacer up for in here out of some panel steel. I can't remember, and I think I put a washer in here just to see if it would sit better, and I've done all sorts of things. I can't remember. I had a wee go there a wee while ago, one afternoon, but I'll have a bit more of a go and see if I can just nut out what I need to do to get this to close properly, and then I can probably put the catch in on the back and get that bolted back in and see if I can get that to work properly, and then possibly bolt that front door on, and then see if I can get that to close up and check the gap between that and the other door. Just before I go a lot more further and piss around with it, because there's another guy I watch fairly often, they call themselves Old Time Garage, Rick, and some of the guys at Old Time Garage. You said that's one of the first things you got to do if you're having problems and you're trying to straighten cars out and get lines right and everything. Get your doors fitting properly, especially that, and if something doesn't line up or doesn't want to fit, get it fitting. And especially if you're replacing panels, especially like what do you call them, sills or rockers or anything like that. If you're taking anything out, get everything to fit properly first and make sure it's right, and then before you cut anything out, and we do shitloads of measurements. So that's what I want to do here. I want to get this fitting today. I've lined plenty of doors up before and other old cars and bits and pieces. This one's just giving me a bit of a fight, and because I haven't got my father here, he's pretty good at this sort of stuff too, because he restored a lot of old trucks in recent years before he retired there. I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, I suppose, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever it was. Yeah, he did a lot of trucks restoration work for a museum in the sort of last 15-20 years of when he was working. So he was pretty good at this sort of stuff too. So I'll get back at it and see if I can get this door to fit, and I'll give you a shot if I can get a bit more advanced with it. Alrighty, cheers. Alrighty, well, I'm sort of back to where I originally was. See the gap here? This was like when I picked it up. So it's really tight there, like there's no gap there at all. And then it's just huge down here and all this sort of shit. And if I pop the door, like it's, like you get a force it in from there, like it's sprung. So, like it's, you actually, I don't know if you can see that, but it's actually pulling the hinge, bottom hinge round. So I'm just not really sure what I wonder if I have to do, because that really there should be, I reckon that there, on that bottom hinge should be closed there, but it's not. So I'm wondering why that's actually been damaged at some stage, because it comes around, it opens too far. Oops, can't go any further than there though. I reckon it opens too far because of something either on this post or on this back of the door's not, shape's not right. Because I've now got the shim that I made in there, plus like 4 of these washers or whatever whatever thickness that is, one behind each bolt, to get it so I can actually close it back to what it was. So I'm wondering if I'm going to have to get in behind, undo this hinge, take this door off, and get a block of wood in this hole and actually give that a decent fucking wallop, and with a hammer, and see if I can actually push this out a little bit. That's probably my next step, and see if I can get that to come round and get it all to move back, because I can't do anything more with that. Now that I've sort of figured out sort of what's going on, and that sort of side of it. So I didn't take, for a start off, when I sort of started playing around this door and took a couple of doors off, I didn't really look too hard down here what was going on. I sort of just pulled it off, and I thought, oh god man, I've got to try to get that door to fit better. But now I've sort of worked out what's going on. I reckon, I don't know whether this door's come way round at some point, and twisted that. But that'll be my next step. I might unbolt that and get in there with a block of wood or something, and I wish I had a decent sized bloody hammer and actually give it a few good wallops and see if I can move that, just that face where that hinge bolt's on, out a few mil, or okay, I don't know, a bit anyway. Alright, I'll get back to you. Cheers. Alright, back again. Wouldn't say it's fitting better, but it is fitting better. Like, it's now closing and not sitting way out here and like I can close it without force. It was still low in here, mainly because I can't get the bottom of that hinge where it bolts on here to go any further that way. So what I did before is I actually gave that about out a little bit. Not sure if I moved it, but I got into behind the door as well, and with the hinges, and I gave it a few good whacks that way and actually moved it out. Well, I think I moved it out a little bit, but I also took out two of the washers, or the washer from each bolt on here, just to try and get that door to sit around a little bit further. So I'm going to have another go at belting this out a little bit, see if I can get it out a bit more to get that door to sit around a little. And if I have to, I might make a thicker shim that I can put in there, but still only leave like two washers in there, so it packs it a little bit more too if I have to. I don't really want to use shims and washers, but I mightn't have much choice. But if I can make it look good, that's the main thing. As long as it sits there and closes properly, and I can close it, and I can get these gaps to be reasonable. Like I don't want to sort of pull this anywhere further forward to try and get it to sit square, because I'm going to end up with back to no gap here. Just to take you quickly around the other side and show you on the other side what this other door looks like. So I haven't moved it yet in any stretch of the imagination. So that's the gap down the back of it, and up here, like, it's lots better. Still not a massive gap down here, but if I can get the other side something similar to this, like, that door could come back, just a hair or two, just back this way a touch, and it's not going to be bad. It's not exactly level, like it probably actually just come back on this top of this hinge, just a sneak maybe, and it would actually line up here better. But that's what the other door fits like, and it's like I'm not even putting any pressure on that to close that, basically, if you know what I mean. So, but there's definitely no well, I don't think there's any packers or washers or anything on these hinges. But if I have to make a thicker washer or a thicker space for that at the bottom hinge, and I will pull it off and I'll give it another couple of bashes and see if I can get it to move a bit more out and try and make that door fit, well, as good as this one anyway, and get it to close, and so it's not annoying the shit out of me. And we'll go from there, I guess. Alrighty, we'll catch you later on. Cheers.